chance for anybody trying to stake claim.
It might depend on the tournament schedule as well.
Yes, it will also depend on the tournament schedule. Some PR seasons might extend to like a week or two. Some might be a little bit shorter just because we have plenty of information to go on.
Mm-hmm. So we're waiting on this last little bit of tech coming in from Xylus, and then he should be joining us shortly to do the announcements. So until then, I guess we can continue our little chat here, or Twitch chat if any of you guys have any questions for us on the panel, questions for us on how the PR was decided, or questions about who we might be seeing, any surprises, things like that. Go ahead, send that our way. We can see the Twitch chat, guys. It is in the stream, so you are free to ask whatever you want. Free to ask anything while we're speaking.
I do? Yeah.
Throughout the top 25 announcement, as well as at the end, we'll go ahead and answer any other questions as well.
I do want to take a quick minute to talk about the curious case of Mr. Xavier Vasquez. This guy. So we had the PR panel that Tuesday night, right? It was like Tuesday night 2 or 3 weeks ago. We have this PR panel, and we're like, Xavier, man, he's such a buster. Why does he keep like having so much potential, but then like bustering out? Stop it. And we put him on the honorable mentions because he, like me, was previously top 25, but then he didn't have results. And then that next day, he gets like 4th at the Ignite that was stacked.
He beat who did he beat? JJ, right?
Yeah, he beat JJ in winners.
And Big Mac.
He finished 3rd. He made it to winners finals and lost in winners finals?
He lost to NiTe, and then he lost to JJ in the run back in losers finals.
So he gets like 3rd at that, and then he goes to freaking Ohio and beats Naoto?
Yeah.
Right? What?
Sturm, can you add Xylus to the call?
Okay, I will once I have a bit of information from him that I'm not going to say on the stream.
Right, so basically what Tom is trying to say is that Xavier also was another player who definitely probably would have made the PR had the season extended maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Definitely would have been in the discussion.
Yeah, so
his results just from that specific time period. And please keep in mind, any of you who are watching, this is from October 1st to Dismantle 2. So things like Mashfest weren't taken into account for this. The major tournaments that you're going to see, or hear, I'm sorry, we'll see and hear, us talk about today are E2C 19 and 20, Kings of the North, Big House 4, and Wreck the Halls, as well as any of the other out-of-state that went on, Save the Space Animals, and any of the other ones that I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
House of Pain as well.
Save the Space Animals was not in the window, I think. I think that was September.
One other thing I want to mention, because I kept track of all of the voting for all of this, and as far as how off the panel was, we all had virtually probably the closest we will ever have again to what our top 25s were. When we did voting, there were only 5 cases where we even had to a vote where there was one vote at either direction. Everything was a 6-0 unanimous from player to player all the way down the list. So we were all in pretty solid, concrete agreement for the majority of this list. And I believe we only had to bring in a tiebreaker once, maybe twice.
Mm-hmm. So
we were all pretty much on the same page.
Which I think is interesting to say that, like, after discussing the results so much, it was so close together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the lower ends were pretty close. Like when we were talking about,
except for number 25.
Number 21 through 25 was a huge conversation.
That took longer than like 1 through 10.
Yeah, the last ones were really tough.
We were all from like.
Also, hi, I'm here now.
Xylus is here.
All right, everybody, welcome Xylus.
11 through 20. That was the shortest time period it took us because we were all like, "This is where these people go," and we just had the same list practically.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay, I'm going ahead and pulling up the list here. So let's go ahead and pull the browser up.
Also, I'm still at work.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I was slaving over getting this list to look right.
Well, Xylus, I just assumed your apartment was made of cubicles.
Oh no, that's actually true too.
That's a curious life you lead.
So we are all of a sudden frozen on Twitch, I guess.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh.
Can I spam Mr. Destructoid?
Oh, wait. Are we back?
Those of you on Twitch, if you can't see the video but you can hear the audio, please let us know.
I think we're back. We are back.
We are back?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, awesome.
But I do need to go ahead and let's test this out. So hopefully everyone
Okay, sounds like
pray with us for all tech issues. This was like super last minute that we got this running. But anyways, jumping into number 25, let's start it off. It is not showing up.
drum rolls.
No, it's not showing up.
It's not
I'm
showing.
just gonna drum roll.
We're gonna drum roll for like 30 seconds.
All right, let me see if I can.
I've already been drum rolling for 3 weeks.
Both of my brothers are percussionists. I'm pretty practiced in.
Oh wait, there we go. I got it. Number 25, our boy Purin, the Jigglypuff main.
This guy.
So Purin barely beat out, and I mean barely, between Chevy, Boom Toast, Hydra, and Blind. Purin barely won that conversation, and that also had the line of going to a final vote between 3 of them. And basically Purin getting first seed coming out of pools at E2C 20 was kind of his tiebreaker that went in his favor. When Sage, he kind of bodied you on stream. It
was 2-1, but yeah, the game 3 he kind of bought me.
The emotional bodying.
Yeah. Also, everybody forgive Pete for his camera because it is super like glitchy. Everything else should be good though.
Laggy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. It looks perfect on mine, but it's all right.
It happens. So Purin, number 25, our Jigglypuff main. His rests are super on point. I got bodied by it twice. So, yeah, congratulations to number 25. So, jumping to number 24, we have BasedRen playing primarily Lucas. I know he does sometimes play Toon Link, but...
The Lucas is legit. He bought me at Dismantle 2.
The most notable thing he did in recent memory was take a game off Ally. That was kind of fresh in a lot of people's minds.
We were in the same pool at Dismantle.
Yeah.
He played Ally right after playing me. And Ally was impressed, as were we. So he makes the list.
Yeah, and as I understand
he got a tweet out from Ally, so that's already like bigger than most people here.
And he didn't misspell his name. So.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
Mike gets it. Mike gets it.
Yeah.
Also, GGA always has some really solid competition, and his overall like aggregate placings at weeklies, like he's been consistent, certainly consistent enough with all of his placings across the last 3 months to make it onto the list. So, BasedRen, you are number 24. Congratulations.
Yeah. And some of the GGAs that like don't have the Elite Four, like he's always in like at least finals of something. So, yeah, coming in number 24, the Lucas man. So 23, we have probably the youngest member.
Definitely the youngest member.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh no. Xylus, it's not showing up again.
Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is older than this person.
Tom, please no.
That's the only reason I thought of it is because
there we go.
came
I got it.
2000.
I just had to reset it. Occasionally, we may have to reset the character list or the player list. But anyways, we have Atata.
Atata, my boy. I was so happy that everybody else understood.
He was the biggest proponent for Atata on the list.
Well, I had to be. Like, it's not like you guys didn't agree, necessarily. When you actually look at his consistency, he always makes it out of pools, always is the 3rd seed at monthlies that he goes to. And just always consistently plays well, beats solid players that you wouldn't realize that he was beating. And when you actually go back and look at his placings and his results and, just his overall skill level, he definitely deserved a spot on this list.
Absolutely.
He has some big wins.
He got, what was it, 9th, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, he got 9th at E2C 19, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, like the dude played out of his mind. So he does really well at monthlies, so definitely deserves the spot.
And that's something to note, is that kind of like coming up with the people at the bottom of this list was really, it was hard to, for some people it was harder to find the, like the big key moments or the key wins. For Atata it was pretty easy. Like he has a defining moment, and that's why he's there.
All right, so moving on to number 22, we have the Zero Suit Samus main, Equinox.
Well,
Season
by the music bracket.
Or, music bracket groover.
music bracket groover. I want to see the MB tag getting rocked at more tournaments.
MB.
Equinox Zero Suit, very solid. Similar to Atata, where he'll show up to slightly larger tournaments and he'll place well enough to make this list. And he admittedly, I would imagine, will tell you that he can do better, but definitely well enough to make it onto the top 25. And Zero Suit, obviously, very strong character, and he is one of the more knowledgeable Zero Suits in the state. Now, Tom brought up the curious case of Xavier Vasquez. I like that title. And, you know, that's kind of him, between him and, like, Ned. Those are our Zero Suit mains. But for a long time, it was just Equinox. Like, he was the guy. So,
Yeah, it
not
was
really
Xavier was there. XAV was there first, and then like before I think Equinox was really coming out, he was there like early on in the scene, and then kind of just like vanished, and then we had Equinox fill in that Zero Suit Samus place. And I think there's something to be said for Equinox's consistency during the last season, and Xavier's kind of vanished from this season in that he is outplacing XAV here.
And at least in this season, this past season.
Yes, this past season.
In this period, that's true. That may change March 31st, but Equinox, number 22.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Equinox, very knowledgeable about like many different characters. Like, it's surprising how much he actually knows about characters he doesn't actually like play or main.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of those players that I could absolutely see breaking that top 15 next season.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I would also like to mention that he doesn't need like a big win. He did get the win on Regralt. Props to him, and props to me for teaching him.
That was a big win.
For sure.
But,
so moving on, we're going to go over to number 21. We have Technique. So the
With
DDD main.
3 exclamation marks.
Yes, 3 exclamation marks. Always 3 exclamation
Specifically 3. Technique, my commentary partner, he made it out of pools at Dismantle 2, which is a big deal. He generally consistently makes it out of pools, but for the size and tournament, making it out, the wins, the consistency, very similar to Equinox.
Yo, can we talk about who he beat at Dismantle 2? Like, to make it out? Or, like, during pools? He beat Big Mac. He has multiple set wins on Big Mac.
Yeah, and he, like, if you look at, you know, not only is that a big win, but, like, Big Mac plays Sheik. Technique plays DDD and Kirby. There's a little bit of a discrepancy.
Like 90% DDD.
The consistent tier lists here. So Technique doing it with some lower end guys. Places well at weeklies when he shows up. Places well at monthlies. He places better at monthlies, and that was kind of a big proponent for this whole list. A lot of these guys, like the last, all 5 of the guys we've named so far, like we put stock into weeklies. But you got to show up and you've got to win and you've got to have good placings when it counts. And the larger tournaments and the, you know, bigger competition, that's when it's really going to matter and really going to push you up there.
Definitely.
And this 21 through 25 was very difficult for us to kind of figure out, like, who deserved it, who had the best overall placings, whose quality of wins were best. So Technique just outside the top 20, 21st in Chicago, nothing to sneeze at, though.
All right. So, moving on, moving into number 20, we have Gone StarbasedFruit. So, obviously, the Luigi main coming through. I do believe, I think this is the highest he's shown up on the PR so far.
Yeah, and he had an even
stronger
stronger start to the season, actually. Like, if you really go look at his standings from, like, October and how well he was placing it, you know, just general weeklies, he was basically top 3ing them, you know, numerous times. And it's not that I don't want to say he fell off, because he's played very well throughout the 3-month span.
I would like to point out that there was some sort of balance update during this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, so Luigi Nation took a violent hit when the down throw to down B confirm kill, or just general kill, kind of went away in a lot of ways. SBF, one of the few players who even plays Luigi that still uses down B consistently as a kill.
I haven't seen him kill confirm with it in a long time.
Yeah,
No,
he
but
doesn't
it's
kill
just a
confirm
kill
with
rate.
it, but he
Damage,
catches you.
too. Yeah, that too.
He'll catch you. He knows how to get damage out of it. His style didn't change a lot from the patch, and he still has pretty solid results. And that's kind of a thing that happened to probably every Luigi player, is that they started out very strong, and then November happened, and what wasn't so great for the character, but SBF as a player is still very solid, still cracking the top 20 even with the nerf, and he is a solo main. As far as I know, he only
He has a Zero Suit and a Pac-Man, but they haven't gotten him the results that Luigi has. Not in the same way.
Yep.
right. Like he busts him out in brackets sometimes, but any important game he plays Luigi.
And
Yeah.
he is very strong doubles player as well. Oftentimes, like him and JJ when they do team.
Oh, him and JJ are just like
Incredible
amazing together.
But anyway,
we didn't factor in doubles, by the way. I do want to mention this to the people watching.
yes.
This is a singles PR. There are players who might have made it on there for doubles play alone, who would have just been higher or been on the list had this been singles and doubles.
So Pete's your
Your camera
image
died.
is sometimes dying. But anyways,
fine.
so if there's
Hear
ever
me
a
at
black
least?
screen, it's Pete. All right. Anyways, moving on. So congratulations to StarbasedFruit getting that number 20 slot. So we're gonna move into number 19 then. We have our first GHQ boy, GHQ Hoenn.
Hoenn is good.
Hoenn won Rectals. That was a huge deal.
Yeah.
His overall placings, otherwise, like he has a weekly win at Poplar. He has the Wreck the Halls win. But he also he's scattered with some inconsistency at monthlies and at other weeklies.
Yeah.
And he'll be the first to tell you. Like sometimes he just doesn't play to his potential. But he's a very strong player, very technical. Probably one of the top 3 or 4 technical players in the entire scene.
Also, Hoenn being like one of the few players that like it is impossible to figure out who he plays. Like
Yes.
he had he is terrifying to play against a bracket because he might pull out a Shulk, he might pull out a Greninja, a Pikachu, Mario, Sheik, Meta Knight. Like there's so many different characters that he represents, and it's like scary just because of that.
So
Half
I
his
do want to
roster-
point out real quick for Hoenn, the Pikachu icon is there kind of because we're just like, dude, there's gonna be like 6 icons next to him if we don't put just one.
Well, the reason there's only also he technically had a Greninja next to him too, but I had to finish, so I only put the top one person wound up being that. So there will be like obviously there's more than just those characters.
On the PR
When the
image,
graphic comes out, it'll probably be Sheik and Pikachu.
Yeah.
Like when the actual itch happens. So
Or just
don't worry about that.
a
Like,
Sheen.
everybody knows that Hoenn plays a billion characters.
Yeah.
And the scariest part about it is they're all lower. Like nobody plays Greninja or Shulk around here. Not at high competitive level.
No,
so it's
yeah.
matchups you have to know just to play against them.
all right.
So yeah.
So congratulations to Hoenn making number 19 there. So moving on into number 18, the other GHQ boy showing up, GHQ Sheen.
This was a little bit more of a tougher thing that we had to do. This was one of the closer votes we had. We had to, obviously, like I said, we voted on every single spot. And basically, it was, out of the 6 of us, 4 of us thought Sheen should be placed above Hoenn just barely, and that's based on his overall placings, mostly at monthlies, other than Wreck the Halls. Generally, he'll place higher. He'll knock off bigger names. And just an overall good player with multiple characters, just like Hoenn. He's got a Sheik, he's got a Zelda, he's got a Falcon. Clearly a Falcon main, whether he admits it or not. Very solid all-around player. Honestly, I believe he could have been much higher. Sometimes he doesn't take the game seriously. That's the thing I would like to see from him moving forward, is actually just not straight up screwing around a bracket.
Yeah, consistency was the one that kind of brought him down. Initially I was like, going into the conversation, we were like, he'll definitely end up being, like, I foresaw him being top 15. But
Yeah,
then
me too.
as we spoke about it more, we started finding results at some weeklies that were a little lower, some questionable losses here and there. So the couple
Don't
minor
worry, Sean. We can still dick around in doubles.
And I mean, not to mention, I mean, he's got some big name wins. Like, I mean, he beat DeMitus.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it was a ditto, but I mean, it's still he beat DeMitus.
It's still a ditto. Like they have the same tools. So, so he was up there for one of the top contenders. But again, so many strong players available, and it was just that consistency. So moving on into number 17, we are actually gonna have your boy, myself.
Yep. Sage, a lot of Sage
person on the list.
So Sage specifically has a lot of very solid quality wins against the Chicago players. That's kind of why you're as high as you are, honestly. Puns. So I'm actually going to let you speak for yourself. Pitch your own case. Why are you 17th?
Why am I 17? So I have decent wins, placed okay in bracket. My Toon Link. So like at the beginning of the season, I had just picked up Toon Link, so like I had a couple like low quality losses early on, new character and all. But then by the time we got to the end of the season, I was picking up decent wins. So 17 it was. Part of the reason was I placed really well in St. Louis. I got second there, only losing to SlowJoe, who got last time SlowJoe came here, or not the last time, but the time before, he got 5th at an E2C. So
and then you won their weekly, didn't you?
yes, I did. I won their weekly as well, and then I placed 4th at Wreck the Halls as well. So towards the end, I had quality wins.
Yeah, so basically head-to-head matchups, you make it out of pools consistently. You were second seed at E2C 20 on top of all of that. So yeah, I mean, the wins are there, the placings are there. Obviously, and I would imagine that you know this too, room for improvement. You did pick up a whole new character during the season and still managed to do what you did.
That's another thing, is this is the beginning of the there's how many people are on this list that have transitioned veins over the course of the season? 3?
4?
3 or 4?
No, there's more than that.
Yeah,
One,
it's more than
two,
3 for sure.
3.
Well, I mean, from like, because we've got a
Four.
bunch of multi-main characters or multi-main players,
Right.
but we don't have anyone who did like a big transition from like a solo
counting
main
7.
to a solo main. Like Mike has completely dropped Rosalina, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I don't play her in bracket
Except
like
for
at all.
matchups.
The only matchup I use her for at the moment is probably Little Mac.
Ness.
At this point, I'm more comfortable using Toon Link, even.
Wow.
But-
Oh man,
Yo,
did you is Blind heartbroken? You're not one of the Luma lovers.
I still have the bracelet. It's okay. Now we just pray to my cutie bomb.
All right.
All right.
So moving on away from me, we're gonna go ahead and go to number 16. We have Foxman's SlowJoe.
Now I'm going to be the first to say this, SlowJoe, buddy. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to be top 15. I know this was a huge deal, and I don't want you to be heartbroken about this because you're a very strong player. You had a little bit of inconsistency early on, and you got to have like a couple more quality wins against some of the top players. Like when you see the guys who are actually 15 through first, and you go back and look at who they've beaten. You're very close. You're knocking on the door. And I do not want you getting discouraged because you're one of my favorite people in the community, and I know that this might sting a little.
Like honestly, I think like 14 through 16 was insanely hard for us to pick too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it was a really tough choice. And
Between 15th and 16th, we had a 3-3 vote and had to bring in one of the top players to be a tiebreaker.
yeah, that was our big tiebreaker.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that right now in the comparison because number 15 we have E2C Chompy.
So Ricky is probably the most fundamentally sound player that plays not a top 10 character at any point in time. He's transitioned over very well from Brawl. He has quite a few quality wins. He double eliminated JJ at Wreck the Halls. If you look at the final dismantle bracket, he beat Sheen. I actually have that bracket pulled up right now. Like, just the players that he beat at large events and the consistent placings he has, pretty much everywhere he goes, he's a threat to anyone he plays. And it got him there. And really what it boiled down to was the quality of wins he had over better players is kind of what got him the tiebreaker.
And I do want to point out that actually part of the reason that, like, so SlowJoe versus Chompy was huge. Like, it was like who's 16, who's 15. That was one of the longer conversations we had. And what ended up being big was, like, SlowJoe had just gotten close to beating JJ. And did he beat JJ during the season? Was that during this, or was that right afterwards?
I want to say it was.
I thought it was during, and I think a big reason that SlowJoe was just behind Chompy was that Chompy had 2 wins on JJ. He double eliminated him at Wreck the Halls, whereas SlowJoe has only 1 win and 1 close. So that kind of served a little bit as a tiebreaker.
Right, and also, on top of that, I don't want you guys to think that's JJ being like the only factor who wins and loses against him. Like, Chompy finished 2nd at Wreck the Halls. SlowJoe finished 9th, and the players that he beat to get there was literally like 2 guys who had numbers after their names, which any TO will tell you probably a lower seeded person.
That wasn't at Wreck the Halls that he beat those guys.
That was at Kings of the North.
Kings of the North. He got 9th.
Kings of the North. I'm sorry, Kings of the North. SlowJoe finished 9th. Chompy got 2nd at Wreck the Halls. Like, there's your comparison for tournaments that were large but not like the biggest. Like, right. Neither of these were big house.
Kings of the North was pretty large. It was like 180.
But also, I mean, SlowJoe, obviously, just with his tech skill alone, like, he clearly has the skill to reach top 15 easy. It's just he needs those more consistency.
Yep. So, speaking of Fox mains, let's move on to number 14. We got Dom.
Dom is a monstrous player. He threatens to beat top 10 players pretty much every time he picks up a controller against them. It always seems to be close if he doesn't win. He doesn't have, like, any bad knock him down losses at any point in the entire season. Like, he shows up, he places where he should place. Sometimes he exceeds expectations a little bit. And I got to have a conversation with him last week, and he even told me, like, he doesn't get to go out to as many things as he would like to, but when he shows up, he wants to make it count. And that is exactly what he does based on all of his standings.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is
Tom, just let you know your mic is muted if you're trying to talk. He's been quiet.
Wait, hold on.
Most of us.
Bodied.
All right, Dom got 5th place at, what was it, E2C 19, I think it was, as well? Or E2C 20, one of the two. But
yeah, he got 5th there, and, like, there was no fanfare about it. It's just like, oh, I got 5th. Like, no one was surprised. It wasn't.
He just played strong. Yeah, he's just a good player.
Really good.
So yeah, the monthlies, again, guys, they are a huge factor into where you end up placing. So congratulations to Dom getting 14 there. Next up,
Dom's only losses at E2C 20 were, and by the way, he beat Chompy 2-0 at that same tournament, which is kind of what put him over the edge. And he also beat Tyroy. His only losses were to Zero and to Kiro. Like,
rip.
You know, it happens. Like, those are some pretty good, pretty strong players.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into number 13 then. So the only Little Mac main showing up on this list, Naoto.
He is interesting.
So what Naoto did at Dismantle 2 was his biggest proponent for being vaulted as high as he did. He is just inconsistent enough to be outside of the top 10 at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that change. He came out with what I believe was a top seed. It was either 1st or 2nd. I have to look that up.
No, I think he got 2nd. He
beat
put Dix in
seconds.
losers though.
Beat Dix. Like, that's a big win. And Naoto also, out of everyone outside of top 10, I think he may have... It's probably between him and two of the other guys coming up on who has the most wins on random top 10 players. Like, he has wins on Dan, he has wins on NiTe, he has wins on... Because I know at E2C 19 he beat NiTe round 1. So he has wins on a lot of the top 10, which was like a big proponent of getting him so high.
His character is also very strange. Like, Little Mac overall, everyone will tell you it's not a matchup they want to see, even though everyone says that the character is not great for his recovery or whatever reason. So it's not really surprising to see that he has high-tier wins. He's the only player I've ever seen play Little Mac the way the character was meant to be played. Like, he doesn't just he doesn't mash the C-stick and just try to overpower you with priority. He actually has setups, confirms, logical thought processes when playing Little Mac, which is a rarity.
Yeah, his Little Mac is super good. I think definitely that recent post on Smashboards about top 5 players for their character, I think he should definitely be repping Little Mac. And
by
I
a
think
certain mysterious author.
May have added. But
I put him at number 1 or number 2 for Little Max in the nation.
I got to play Soul at
It's him or
Genesis.
Soul.
And, I'd actually put the two as even. Like,
Yeah, that's what I would
very
do too.
equally matched.
and then
Yeah,
a big part of him outplacing Dom on this list is that Naoto has been consistently coming out and has strong wins. Dom has occasional losses at weeklies, and Naoto actually has a hot winning record against him. So the head-to-head was kind of taken into account here as well.
Yeah, it was unanimous decision though, based on standings, based on everything. As we will let you guys know if any of these warrant a 6-0 unanimous decision.
Yeah, Pete
and
has
we
the
pretty much-
the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I have the whole spreadsheet, and pretty much all of them until we get to 5-6 are going to be unanimous. So I'll tell you that now.
Okay, so moving on then, we are going to number 12. One of the larger fall-offs from the top 10, BoScotty. Not to say that in a mean way, but the man at one point showed up as high as, I believe, 4th on the PR. Now sits at number 12.
Bo is a great player who can't stomach the game that he plays. And that is a recurring thing in every competitive video game. There are always players high up there who just can't handle what the game is that they're playing, even though they're good at it. And Bo, if he liked what he was doing, if he really wanted to sit down and just be like, this is it, this is my game, different story. But because of his just disdain for the game, his character crises, he's the only guy who, rather than talking about, hey, it's impressive that you are where you are, it almost feels like it's a little bit wasteful to have him this low. He has so much knowledge of the game. He has so many good fundamentals. He has so many quality wins against high-caliber players. But in the last month and a half, his desire just hasn't been there. There was no fire to be higher than where this is.
And after Genesis, it seems like he might be still on that path to not competing nearly as much in Smash 4. So may this be his last time on the PR?
He
But
claims
he's also had some great. I mean, he's had some amazing wins. Like, he pretty much won a Smash hit. Like, he lost to a tiny me brawler.
That doesn't count.
Beat
doesn't count.
beat
He
Shel
won.
at Dismantle 2.
He did.
He did.
Oh yeah, that too.
Did you hear the story about him trying to money match Mr. Concon? He goes up to Mr. Concon and says, hey man, you want a money match? He's like, yeah, who do you play? And he says, I play Rob. And then Mr. Concon's like, no, I don't want a money match. Hates that matchup.
All right.
He's a Luigi Slayer.
One thing that Bo, like, if he ever wanted to come back, like, the biggest thing Bo needs to do, like, just as like a personal, like, how I deal with my characters, he just needs to figure out what characters he wants to use for what matchups. Like, that's, in my opinion, his biggest weakness. Is just he has all these characters, but then he'll just be like, use just this character today. But, like, that's not going to work as far as, like, your matchups go. Like, there's just bad matchups that you have to deal with.
Yeah, having a perpetual character crisis will hurt any player. particularly if you're not in love with the game. And as I understand it, Genesis was his last competitive tournament, or so he says. So we will see if that is true or not. But as far as we know, like Tom said, this could be his last showing on the PR. So we will see.
All right, so
Would be sad to see it happen, though.
moving on, we are going to number 11. We got Semoponume, the artist formerly known as Gamerhead. So
Gamerhead 22. Okay.
Okay.
All right, back throw, boys. Gamerhead, or Semo. We'll just say Semo. He has the best fundamental understanding of a singular character, I believe, anywhere in, like, other than, like, Akiro Sheik or Green's Olimar, probably knows his character better than anybody else does. He could have easily had some higher placings, but Ness obviously has some abysmal matchups out of the top players, top characters, as we all know. Not unwinnable, just brutal. And a lot of the times I see him lose a match, it's usually to somebody like NiTe, where it's just like, well, I play Rosa, gotcha.
Yeah, that's been most of his losses at Ignite.
Woo!
And he still brings it to game 3. I'm going to call you out for a sec here, Samo, and tell you to stop playing League of Legends. That game is abysmal, and it's making you worse at Smash 4.
That game
Also,
is abysmal. I can confirm.
Fun fact about Semo, I think he was the only person that we just unanimously all put at number 11.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
single person on the PR had Gamerhead Semoponume at number 11. Like, it was a unanimous. It wasn't even like that was the range he was in, and we kind of ended up voting it there. It was just that's where he ended up before we even started 1 through 10 discussion, because we're like, oh, he's 11.
Literally, I think only one person didn't have him at number 11. And he was at like number 12 time for that one.
All 6 of us did. As far as,
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we penciled him in before we even started talking about the rest of the list, I'm pretty sure. Like, we knew where he was. So,
It was amazing.
all right.
All right, so
That rounds out everything below the top 10. So now we are getting into top player territory.
So, starting off with our number 10, I think this one top 10.
Can I drum roll now?
We can drum roll. Top 10 is a surprise, I think, to a lot of people. But starting off at number 10, JTWild.
Got him.
All right.
JTWild is our best
JTWild.
combo game player in Chicago. Not close. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that his combos are...
Ned might be a 1A.
Ned's combo
Ned
game
might
is
be a
more about
1A.
frame data consistency. JT just kind of unleashes the beast when he plays.
I'd rather get punished by JT than Ned, probably.
Maybe.
Personally,
I
maybe it's just
don't
because
know.
of Yoshi.
That'll take a stock, but JT will make you sit and contemplate life while he hits you with his feet.
So,
Yeah.
the big reason that JT didn't show up higher, a lot of it was it's hard to play someone when they only come out to, like, what was it, like 5 events total?
It was literally exactly 5 events.
Yeah, so, like, he barely qualified, and it's hard to represent that consistency when you're not out enough. So, and then, like, losing to, there's, like, just some random matchups that he's lost in the past. Granted, he places very, very well when he goes out, but yeah, that right there was the big reason for the number 10 placing.
If he starts coming out more, he can very easily flip that into a top 5 slot.
He was
has
5th
the
at one
potential
point.
to do it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was 5th with that.
Certainly
He
has
was
the
there
ability.
before.
All right.
And I mean, he wanted to go to Big House, but he just, like, plans fell through, so, you know, but, like, I could have imagined him placing really well there.
Oh yeah,
Mhm,
definitely.
for sure. All right, so next up at number 9, the newly sponsored E2C Tyroy.
Yeah. Tyroy
Yeah.
Tyroy's our boy.
Tyroy.
Tyroy is a player who basically got ranked lower because of his lack of number of quality wins, because he goes to Champagne. So he has to just sit there and body the Champagne crowd, as opposed to, like, coming up to Chicago and consistently beating, like, what is going to be basically the rest of our top 10. And obviously he's off to a very strong start to the season. Like, the only Ignite he showed up to this season, he won.
That was
it wasn't even Grand
yeah.
Prix.
This is the new season that he didn't show up last season to Ignite.
In the new season, he
He started off strong.
Yeah, he started off very strong. He went through winners into grands. There was no reset, and he did it with 2 characters. That's the big thing, is that everybody equates Tyroy to being a Sheik player, but his Meta Knight is pretty savage.
A big part of him. So, a big conversation obviously is Big Mac Tyroy. Tyroy, Big Mac had outplaced or tied Tyroy at most of the monthlies, as well as outplaced him and beat him in the Ditto at House of Pain. So that was a big reason on Tyroy being lower than Big Mac.
It was such a difficult call between the two of them as well, and they play such different styles. Like Tyroy plays Sheik, Big Mac plays Big Mac. Like and like Green said this.
I think you mean Big Grab. That's his name, right?
He won't always do the optimal thing. He'll just do whatever he thinks is right. Where Tyroy will stay fundamental and true to the character. Although Tyroy and Big Mac, this is the other thing between the two of them. Both of their skill has just perpetually increased with every passing week.
I like that they are so even. That it's such a tight race. I actually think so. Something to keep in mind. I think 10 through 6 is super tight, and then I think 5 through 1 is also really tight.
Yeah,
I would say 7 through 10, 3 through 6, and 1, 2. Those are kind of my tier list brackets of our top 10.
I agree much with I agree with Pete.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and continue on with this conversation then. We have...
He is the GGA Slayer.
the man who wants to see GGA burn in bracket. Unrivaled Big Mac.
Yeah, not exactly a shocker to see Big Mac and Tyroy 1-2, well, not like literally 1-2, but like one right after the other somewhere. And I'm not going to be surprised if in the next 3 months one of them truly breaks out and is just like, look, I should be higher. But at the moment, just based on the events that they could go to during that 3-month span, the number of quality wins that Big Mac has had, he had the edge, and he has the top 8 placing.
I do want to bring up for my boy's case that he did place top 8 at Kings of the North. He placed top 8 at one of the E2Cs, and then got like 9th at the other one. House of Pain, he got 3rd. He consistently beats a GGA member at like every single weekly. At least one GGA member. It's not always all of them, but one.
Yeah, it has gotten to the point where if the GGA are the Elite Four, and if you want to view maybe Akiro as the champion, Big Mac has kind of become the protagonist of Chicago. Like, he so badly wants to just beat the top like those specific top players in our area. Now, honestly, I believe that long term, Mark Morgan, if you're listening, I don't want that to hold you back. You need to focus on bigger fish than just Chicagoland. You really do. I want to see you go out and just start bopping Michigan as opposed to Chicago.
He bopped Minnesota.
At Kings of the North, yeah.
But I mean, it's like Sheik versus Kirby. Okay, that's a tough matchup. I don't blame him. But then Ganon the Beast, like...
he went Falco.
He constructed his Ganon, and then Ganon the Beast countered him with Falco.
He was Falco the Bird.
Falco the Bird? Like, that's a counter pick if I ever saw one, I guess.
All right. All right. Congratulations to number 8 there. All right, moving on. We have Shel.
Yep. Shel at number 7, and this is really where you see the Luigi patch truly hurt Luigi players in the community. If you would have just taken this based off of October, early November, like before the patch, Shel probably top 3.
Yeah.
But now he has to basically sit down. He's a solo main, so he's got to sit down, relearn every single matchup. And it's a brutal transition for a patch to happen to a character in the middle of a power ranking season. But Shel still has plenty of quality placings. He was the highest, tied with Demitus at Big House. He finished 17th. He placed well at Dismantle 2. His only losses were to Bo, as they know each other very well, and to Dix, because the Toon Lake Luigi matchup is not good, as I've learned the hard way many times.
Dix is the Chicago Slayer, man.
Yeah, Dix was truly the Chicago Slayer that day. But Shel
He was the Chicago
consistently
Slayer
shows
at Rebirth 5 too.
Shel shows up. He places well. He won one of the Poplars. He always places or seems to place top 5 at any Ignite he goes to at worst. The
Also-
only thing that really held him back was Mashfest not being in this season.
Yeah, that would have been a big jump for him.
Also,
He does have that ability to just turn it on sometimes, like at Mashfest and like at that Poplar, where I would like to mention that he probably landed 40 Shoryukens.
14 in the last 4 sets.
I like the number 40 better. I'm going to keep telling the story that way.
also, Shel has JTWild syndrome where he's just not out enough. He's very focused on school, so the consistency factor, like, we can't reference that to push him higher.
That's true. And honestly, I believe that Shel, this is probably his bottom plateau. I believe that he really only has up to go from here, because now that he is used to the character and has begun to relearn all the matchups and kind of knows where his character sits, as opposed to just being a different character, honestly, a couple months ago, he can continue to go back to his grind and assault on the entire Chicagoland scene that he was doing previously. I believe he's still the only Chicago player with a positive record against Akiro.
I mean, also the one big benefit of just like the patch in general is just now the Luigi mains can actually be Luigi, like they can shine, as opposed to like before, like with Diddy when he pre-patched, like there were just a billion Diddies. There's just a lot of Luigis who just played Luigi because he had the down throw, down B shenanigans. Now Luigi's like he has to work for everything, and Shel's still doing all that great work.
So congratulations to him being number 7. Still a very good accomplishment considering the 6 ahead of him. So, but we're going to move on to number 6 here, and that will be another UR boy, the newly sponsored from Unrivaled Tournaments, UR Ned.
No,
Now,
you're Ned.
He sure
This
is.
is where things got a little bit dicey and all of our votes really started to take place. I believe the only other unanimous we have from here to the top is our number 4 slot, which we'll get to. But between Ned and who is 5th, which we will also get to in a moment, the only reason that Ned is outside the top 5, and if you took it based on just the last month, it's possible Ned could have been top 2. Actually, he was the highest placing Chicago player at Dismantle 2, which was the largest Chicagoland tournament other than Big House, which was in Michigan. The only thing holding him back was the fact that since this is from October 1st to January 2nd, he had to have that period in time where he showed up to the community. He had to lose some weekly matches that he normally wouldn't lose. You know, he had to establish himself. And the results October, November just weren't there. And Ned is possibly the strongest up-and-coming player we have seen, period. He has
the fact that
all
he's
the
been here for under
skills.
2 months is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
under 2 months, and he top 8 at the national. But not technically, it was a national. We had over 200 players. I'm not really sure what the
a major.
number border is there, but getting top 8 at Dismantle 2 is ridiculous. Like, that's so huge for somebody so new to the scene. And Ned's another guy.
I wanted him top 5 for just that tournament, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and I did too at first. It wasn't until I actually saw the results of our 5th place finisher, which we can jump to in a second, that I kind of swayed back to putting Ned 6th, because I am a big proponent of consistency and having to grow in this 3-month span and having this be your first power rankings. I mean, in 3 months from now, he might be the best player in Chicago. Honestly, that could be the case.
Yeah,
He definitely has
And
the
right now,
potential.
there's
All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump to number 5 here. Not surprising, moving into number 5 through 1 here, we're going to see quite a bit of one sponsor showing up. So the first one is GGA.NiTe.
Now, this was a tough one between NiTe and Ned. NiTe has consistently been winning or getting second at Ignition, which obviously that's only a weekly. So at first we were like, all right, all his good placings are at weeklies. And then we actually started to go and look at NiTe's placing at every monthly or other large event that he went to. and everything that he had was on par with the best placing people out there. Like his placement at save, the Space Animals was high, and the monthlies at E2C was very high. And it was kind of one of those realizations, for me personally, specifically, as well as a couple other people, when we were voting between NiTe and Ned, who should be 5th, that NiTe strictly deserves it for the consistency of his placings over 3 months.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most consistent players, not just at, like, some players, they just show up to weeklies, some players, they just show up to monthlies. NiTe shows up to everything, and I think that's a big reason that he's 5th right now. And he's been just dominating Ignite. Like, I don't know why that dude just destroys Ignite specifically, but
Because
he
his
has...
name's in the title.
It's because he gets force-seeded against JJ. And honestly, NiTe, out of the other... One of the things that does get him this high up is that he just has a great matchup versus JJ.Rockets. He plays really well against that monkey.
But that's a big deal. Like, we haven't named JJ yet, which means he's probably going to be above NiTe somewhere on this PR. And if he's beating him consistently, that's a big deal. That's a quality win that is consistent.
Mm.
And these are the kind of things that pushed him into the top 5.
Mm-hmm. All right,
He's
so
right.
moving on into number 4. We have our only Olimar main showing up in top 25. Well, the Olimar main that hates his character. GreenBeast.
GreenBeast.
I have been sitting here thinking for about 10 minutes what I wanted to say about this. I believe that BoScotty's character crisis has infected Green. And that is the only reason that Green is outside of the top 2 in the state. For the technical skill he has, the lab rat that he is, his character knowledge, his overall game knowledge, and what he is capable of on a range from I am this bad to I am this good. Like, you look at some of Green's bad placings during the month of November, he did it to himself by playing Sonic, a character that he just decided, hey, I'm going to pick up Sonic for a while.
Yo, his Sonic got kind of bopped.
Yeah, and then you look a little bit later on and you realize that he 2-0'd Naoto, and it wasn't close when they played in one of the more recent monthlies.
E2C
And now
19.
that's a huge deal because Naoto is probably the best player in the Midwest, other than Ally. And you look at a player like Green, who, all right, you play a character that's a little bit lower. It's not a top 5 character in the game. You have the most intimate knowledge of the character. You can beat some of the best players in our entire region, and then you show up and will randomly 1-2 events because you want to play janky characters. And that's fine. You know, you do what you want to do and you have the fun that you want to have. But goddamn, just pick a couple of characters and stick with them. Like Olimar and X. Like Olimar Sheik.
Olimar and Sheik.
Hopefully
He had a
Corrin,
really good Sheik.
maybe Corrin will
His
finally
Toon
do it
Link
for
is
him.
good too.
Oh, yeah, Corrin too.
Like,
Yeah,
he's
that's
already
true.
coming for Sage's Toon Link.
Well,
And that was in like a 2-week span. But he literally, once a week,
Whoa.
is just like, I'm going to play this character. I'm going to play this character. And it's great to have that kind of knowledge of the game. But I really want to see Green one day sit down and go, wait a minute, you know what? I can beat everyone in this region. And then actually do it. Because he is that good.
yeah,
He just...
definitely a very good
The thing
player.
about- The thing about
Is it
his Sheik,
places-
okay. The thing about like just saying, oh, he can just pick up Sheik and go right back into it is that the Sheik meta has developed in the 3-4 months that he hasn't played Sheik. So it's just he's got to relearn the character from the ground up, and the muscle memory for Sheik is actually very complex. It's not just a character that you can just be like, oh, you know what, I just realized I need her for this matchup that I haven't been playing her for 2 months for. Let's just do it. An hour of Sheik in the lab and we're good. Sheik doesn't work that way.
No,
That's
Sheik
why-
is an entirely different world. Sheik is like no other character in the game because it's such a delicately balanced character. It's an incredibly powerful character that requires such in-depth knowledge to be good with, more so than probably any other character in the game that would be considered a top character. It's just a different style and fundamental character altogether.
That is another conversation though. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it here, and we're gonna move on to number.
Yeah. Well, my last thought is I'm of the opinion that Green only needs a matchup for the Olimar mirror, and his Olimar's that good.
That Olimar mirror is just goofy.
Moving on.
Moving on.
GreenBeast is okay. Oh, he lost to TOs at Genesis. PRs are OP.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Alright.
then in losers, he lost to Fatality.
Number 3, GGA.Demitus. And his cool hat.
And the cool
That is
hat.
cool.
Alright.
This is where things got very difficult between third through first. While we were pretty unanimous on the rest of the entirety of the top 25, large in part, it was the top 3 that started to kind of diversify who we truly thought is currently the best player in Chicagoland. And Demitus getting 17th at Big House, tying with Shel for the best finish, taking game off to Buzz and almost the set is kind of a huge deal at Dismantle 2. Not to mention his final placing at Dismantle 2 and some of the players that he knocked off
And he
en
almost
route to finishing
beat
as high as
MJG. He lost it to
he
Buzz
almost-
and MJG.
He got timed out by MJG by 2%. That was how close he came to beating somebody of MJG's caliber. And other people, he knocked out his teammate NiTe, which, by the way, there's another advocation for how well NiTe finished. He bopped Equinox, and then in winners, I'm just going to go through this real quick since I've got it up.
NiTe has a good matchup versus JJ, but he actually has a pretty bad matchup as far as I know, versus the rest of GGA. He and Demitus might be closer to even, but I know Dan just absolutely obliterates him.
He 2-0'd Tyroy, which, as has been evident, and we didn't take this into account, but I am just going to point out that Tyroy did just win the last Ignition and beat the rest of the GGA members because Demitus was not there.
Again,
But-
that was out of season, though. It was not accounted
out
for
of
this
season.
PR. This PR...
I'm just pointing out that beating Tyroy 2-0 is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And a lot of his other finishes, E2C 19 and 20, and all of his monthlies, he's always way up there, and he does it with 2 characters. He bounces back and forth between Meta Knight and Falcon, pretty much at will.
He got 5th at the past 2 non-dismantle E2Cs, right? Was it 5th twice?
I believe
he got
that
4th
Demitus
at 20.
has probably leveled
Oh,
up.
yeah, 4th. He beat JJ and got 4th.
Demitus has probably leveled up more than any previous top 10 member has overall, skill-wise and placing-wise.
Well, there's another guy that might say, might argue
But also,
Yeah, there's another guy that might say otherwise.
obviously, Falcon's only listed on here, but that's only because I didn't have time. His Meta Knight, that's all he worked on the entire season was just his Meta Knight, just to get to for majors, and it's paid off so well.
We talk about players getting punished for picking up different characters in season. Demitus did that and didn't get punished. That speaks volumes.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move on into our top 2 section. We have number 2 coming in, GGA.JJROCKETS.
This was our longest conversation by a wide margin. We spent about an hour and a half debating who was going to be 1 and who was going to be 2.
Yep.
And what really has hurt JJ are 2 factors. His random losses to numerous players in Chicagoland, just kind of randomly, and his lack of out-of-state quality wins.
I wouldn't say random.
No, JJ rarely loses random.
Yeah, JJ rarely loses outside of top 10 at this point. But
See,
the big
when you're vying for number 1, anyone outside of the top 5 is a random loss. That's my opinion, but you should not be losing to people outside of the top 5 if you're vying for the 1 spot.
It's I think the big thing that so it's not a secret anymore. Let's go ahead and throw up our number 1, GGA.Dan. So definitely congratulations to him. Congratulations to JJ as well.
He came a long way for that.
Yeah, so I think the big wins that we have for this season for Dan vying over JJ. Dan beating Fallen twice. Once in this season. He beat him at 18. So beat Fallen, which was like a huge deal. He ended up beating DSS. He plays so well at Kings of the North. Dan has been placing really consistently at
Everything.
everything. Like his consistency is just off the charts. So that was a big push towards him. Again, like number 1, number 2, it's so interchangeable between the two. But Dan just barely eked it out. The other big one being Dismantle 2, with placing ahead of JJ.
And it wasn't as close as it could have been. Dan kind of had a rough ride through Dismantle 2. Like the players that he had to beat to get the placing that he did.
He and JT tied, right?
I believe that's correct.
Ninth.
I'm double checking it now.
I can check too.
God damn. That whole 4-hour conversation we had when we put this together kind of became a blur over time. Like, his losses were to MVD.
Yeah, Dan got 9th.
Yeah.
JT got 13th.
Naoto.
Okay.
And he took a game off Naoto even in that set that he lost. He knocked out Sensational, like destroyed him 2-0. Knocked out Skillinger. He defeated, what did he beat in the winners? He beat Technology in winners, Pulse Technology.
That's a matchup that he's actually spent a lot of time learning. Because we saw him struggle at Save the Space Animals versus Katakiri's Meta Knight, and he's been run the gamut. And I'm pretty sure he probably has a win against Demitus' Meta Knight now at some point too.
Yeah, Dan finished 9th. JJ finished 17th at Dismantle 2, and the guy that beat JJ, Sensational, Dan 2-0'd him, and it was pretty violent.
I heard it was obliteration.
Yeah.
It was a dumpster.
So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that speaks volumes. Even like between those two, if it really did come down to that last big, and like that was a huge event as the tiebreaker, that's a pretty definitive statement. Like, you not only outplaced who you would be competing against at the 1-2 slot, but you also destroyed the guy who knocked him out. And yes, matchups take some in. They do, but these were not unwinnable matchups for either of them.
Yeah. And I think no matter what...
And Dan has come through when it mattered.
All right, so congratulations again to all of the players who made top 25. No matter what, like where you placed on it, it is an accomplishment being on this list. You should be proud of yourself. And then, again, the season has just started. We've seen players like XAV, who did not show up in the top 25 here, basically already trying to vie for that top 10 spot with some of the wins he has already. So, and again, XAV didn't show up because lack of activity, and he was just kind of like frauding out at Ignition a couple times. And then he comes and gets third right as the season ends. It's like, dude, come on. So, congratulations again to Dan being first. Congratulations to top 10. Congratulations to 11 through 25. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign it off here?
I'm going to give you a big thanks to Unrivaled Tournaments and the stream for hosting the show. Thank you to the rest of the panel, and thank you to everybody who has been watching and who has taken an interest in. I think that goes from from Dan and Big Mac, who are part of the panel, Xylus, Sage, Sturm, and myself, Back Diesel. I really appreciate that you guys have taken the interest and that you that you tuned in. I think that this went pretty well, and I'm glad that we were able to get this done for the community, and I look forward to getting for you guys again in 3 months.
Yeah, so it looks like the next one will be... You know how long it took us to get this one out, because that's life.
Yeah, mid-April probably.
It'll be, yeah, the season will probably be January, 2nd was Dismantle 2's end, to...
January 4th.
4th to 31st. And we'll, of course, count there's the GGA that BasedRen won that day, which technically will count.
He's going to get that note. Do you guys remember when Nubs showed up on as number 11 when he won, 3 tournaments when Smash and Splash was going on?
Oh, freaking Nubs, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Nubs syndrome.
The legend of Nubs.
Number 11. Guy doesn't even play this game. All right.
All right, and also I'm gonna say, did we mention Panda Bear and how he was most he?
We would have been on there.
Yeah, he just didn't get.
Before you came in, I did the honorable mentions of all the players who either barely didn't qualify for the list or barely didn't make it on voting.
Ah, okay.
So we did cover all of them.
So, last couple things, guys. The graphic image will be released shortly after this. We're going to post it up right away of the top 25. Thank you to Dan for getting that done. I think he had a friend of his help him out again, same guy who did it last time. So, and to be honest, I have no idea what the theme is. It was just shown to me, and I'm confused already. But
I think it has something to do with cuties.
I think it might have something to do with cuties. Considering Love Live is there for NiTe, I'm like, it's cuties. This is the worst.
It's cuties.
Shout outs to all the guys for honorable mentions. Again, Blind, Chevy, Boom Toast, Hydra, Akiro at number 0. He had to be there somewhere, so my boy's coming through. And then I think that pretty much wraps it up. I do believe the spreadsheet will be released 26 through beyond.
I have to talk to Joe about it because Joe was the mastermind behind it, and
Yeah.
he's in Canada.
You guys may not see a spreadsheet for this particular PR, and if you don't, I'm sorry. But although one thing I do want to say to pretty much everybody is don't get discouraged. If you don't like your placing, or if you weren't on the list and you're vying to be, it's a long season. And remember, it's a video game. It's for fun. The community is one of the best communities out there. So, don't get discouraged. There's always time to, make yourself better. There's plenty of people in the community willing to help you. And I look forward to seeing pretty much everybody out at future events.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in again.
Yep.
And I think that wraps it up for us. Unless anybody
I'm
has
gonna
one
shout out to
last.
myself for making the overlay.
Yes.
For coding the overlay.
Guys, big thanks to Xylus. If you guys didn't already know this, Xylus is one of the core 4 members of the Unrivaled team. He does all the animation work for us and helps with the overlay coding. So huge shout outs to him. Dude is awesome. Couldn't do what I do without him.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having me, and see you in a couple months.
All right, guys. Don't forget to sign up for the upcoming events, MashFest 2. Don't forget the weeklies, Ignition, Poplar Creek, GGA, and the Wit Gaming one on Sundays. Anything else you can find on the Chicago Smash 4 page? Good night.
Ciao.
See you guys later.
And I stopped the stream.
All right, and I can finally fix my overlay to have the right characters and colors and stuff.
For some reason, that
Was my
particular
was
one
my
took
camera
it
dead
out
the
of me.
whole time?
No, it's
No,
just
you're
crapping
fine.
out.
It's
just
not a
really
very good
laggy.
camera, and it just lags out. It's very pixely.
No. Well, hopefully it didn't do that the whole time.
It was.
It's because it's the